Not a lot of us are actually paying attention, and I've been guilty of it a couple times. It's not like in school where, hey, right there, we should probably pay attention. But everybody's just like, whoa, is that a turtle statue?
Welcome to the Monarch Experience Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Ancona, and here at the Monarch Experience Podcast, we are giving students the platform to be able to voice their opinions about what matters most to them. And after a few months being back in school, we're talking about remote learning feedback. This is very different than the one that we dropped at the beginning of the year. I almost said at the beginning of the season, but at the beginning of the year where it was on hybrid learning feedback, which was a big hit. The idea was we were talking about kind of like what it was like learning from both in school, out of school, and all those things. This is going to be entirely different. This episode, we're talking about how Marlboro Township, we were learning from home for, I think, about like 2 months, maybe even a bit longer, like November all the way to January. I'm not going to try to count, but basically about 2 months being fully at home, fully remote, totally different animal than the episode that we had published earlier in the year. But before we get to any of that, we've got some big things lined up that you're going to want to make sure that you are following us on social media, on Twitter at the Monarch XP or on Snapchat at the Monarch Experience Podcast, because we have picked our winner for the logo design contest. But I will not tell you. I have swallowed the key. I have chewed on and eaten the paper with the logo. Probably not a good idea. My digestive system is going to really regret that. But Student Council has picked the winner. We are going to be unveiling the logo in a live webinar, which will have plenty more than just us showing you the logo. We're trying to go big. We'll have more details on this as we get a little bit closer. So students at Memorial, obviously, just keep doing what you're doing, and we will find a way to get you the information. Otherwise, if you're antsy and you really, really need to know, just follow us on social media, and I'm apt to drop some hints and details that way. That will come later after spring break. But right now, we've got 3 incredible students that are joining us to talk about remote learning feedback and all of the trials and tribulations that I've always wanted to say that phrase. I don't think I've ever gotten to use that, but all of the ups and downs that went along with this. First, we've got returning for a 3rd time. Geez, give someone else a chance. Ishika, welcome back.
Hi.
I should have done that 3 times, actually. Welcome back. You should have said hi 3 times.
You had one job.
I know, and I failed miserably. Ishika, it is so great to have you back for a 3rd time. You're closing in on most episodes within a year.
Really?
Yeah, you might be tied for most episode appearances within a year. I'm going to have to go into the archives, go into the Monarch Experience Hall of Fame and see. But we're going to have to retire your jersey, dude.
Well, then.
Or your microphone.
My
Ishika,
very sad set of headphones from the dollar store.
Ishika, it is great to have you back. We've got another one of this is an all Ancona student episode, so I'm really pumped about this. Meher, say hi to our audience.
Hey, what's up? This is my first podcast. I'm a good student in Mr. Ancona's class, and knowing that this is about online learning, I'm hoping that I can bring up some very good points during our discussion.
Dude, you are a great student. You are a great student. I love that. I love the confidence, man. It's fantastic. Sammy, another one of my fine students. Sammy, say hi to everybody.
Hi, I'm new to this podcast. My name is Samuel, and I'm a very hardworking student, and I get a lot of work done.
All hardworking students. I love it. I love that you guys are like, I'm a good student, so therefore what I say matters more than anyone else. Nice. Ishika, I think those are shots fired your way.
It might just very well be.
Oh, man. So, all right, before we jump into this remote learning feedback and and kind of dive into reflecting on, that's my favorite thing in the world, reflecting on what this year has been like, learning from home and all of that. There's a really important question that I think people need to know. We need to understand where you stand. That is very confusing, the language there. We need to know where you are in the great thunder or lightning debate. I think that kind of rhymed. I think I'm losing it. So Ishika, we're going to start with you. What do you think is cooler, thunder or lightning?
I would say thunder just because of that, like, suspense. Like, you don't have lightning sound effects in, like, cheesy movies, do you? No, you have cheesy thunder sound effects.
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
And I'm more of, like, a rainy day person when it comes to, like, weather. And so it's just nice to have, like, the rain and the thunder. That, and you can't die from thunder.
That's very that's a great point, actually. So it's cooler because it can't kill you.
Yes.
Ishika, I follow you on that. Meher, where do you stand on this? What's cooler, thunder or lightning?
Well, probably the lightning, right?
I hear you. Sammy, where are you on this? What's cooler, thunder or lightning?
I think lightning. It's like visually cool. Like
I'm gonna go with, I think, lightning is cooler. I think lightning is cooler. Sorry, Ishika. Thunder's great, and I love the whole you see the lightning and then you're like, you wait for the crash and that's my thunder impersonation, and you're like, ooh, that was a big one. But I think seeing lightning is far more startling and way more of like a holy cow, did you see that over there? So I'm going lightning. Also, lightning hit the tree right outside of my house. You can see the bark is exposed. And fun fact, when it hit the tree, this is like 3 years ago in the summer, we just saw like flash of white all through the windows. We were like, what was that? And the house shook. And it actually wiped out my PlayStation. It wiped out our TV. Thankfully, the PlayStation was serviceable. Sony is fantastic. They took care of everything. But the TV was just completely shot. It wiped out like a whole bunch of electronics. I guess they were like kind of on that power line wherever it hit. Crazy destruction. Speaking of destruction, let's talk about what this has been like learning from
What kind of transition is that?
I think it's the best transition. Speaking of destruction and getting completely wiped out, let's talk about what this has been like learning from home. So context for our listeners that are out of state and the 34 other states that listen to us, context to our listeners in the other 19 countries that listen to us. Basically, we pay attention to world news, right? COVID cases spiking in the winter or in the fall. So we made the smart decision to shut down and go fully remote from, I think it was like November. We've been basically fully remote for about 2 months, 2.5 months. And then we came back maybe a month ago, right, as a recording. So somewhere in January. It was like the day after the Royal Rumble. Oh, no, it was like 2 days after, because I think we got a snowstorm on the Royal Rumble. How do I know this? Because I like wrestling. So, yeah, it was like that Thursday after the Royal Rumble. So maybe it was spilling into like February. Either way, as students who were fully remote the entire year, even when we were hybrid, Ishika and Meher, I'm curious to hear your take on this. Did that switch do anything for you?
Yes, it very much did. Because I'm so used to seeing teachers like on camera and like their home lighting. And I will say this, you are so much less saturated on Zoom than in person. Like when I saw you in person, I'm like, did you like turn gray? Because that's what you looked like. You looked like you were gray.
In Zoom or in person?
In person.
Oh my! I look gray. I do get like an olive oil kind of like tint during the winter before I get my like full on bronze going in the spring and summer. Wow, I that is the first. So that I like how we're like, how has this affected you when we went fully remote? And Ishika is like, you're very gray. Meher, did this do anything for you, this switch? When we went fully remote, you've been at home the entire year. Did anything change for you?
Considering I was a student in remote learning like all year, I don't really think the switch meant much. For the most part, I'd say like it got easier for me because of remote, like certain things. Like I get to wake up later, so I can get more sleep, and I also don't have to get ready properly. But
and such like a big part of what I've loved about whenever we're home. It's just like I don't even have to get dressed. I don't have to like get ready. I don't have to really. Yeah, just way more casual. I don't have to really be all that presentable. I can look my normal saturated gray scale color that I apparently look now. I'm going to be so self-conscious now, thanks to Ishika. But so what did you, during this time from November to end of January, what did you miss about in-person school?
I would say mostly like meeting people, like mostly my friends. I used to have a lot of friends in school, but I don't really get to interact with them anymore because we're split, of course. And I've been getting lonely. And because of loneliness, I've been getting a little bit sad recently. I'll be real. I also miss doing like proper classes, like especially band and orchestra. I've heard like in those classes, I can't even do. We skipped like our spring concert because we couldn't properly learn pieces with our environment. And also, I believe that I do miss learning to my full potential in other classes, even. Like, classes like health and Spanish, I only have like 5 courses this marking period. And even on my classes of ELA, where I have it like once every 2 days still, I've heard we can't finish our vocab unit. And it's like, I feel bad because it's like I get an advantage over other students in past years. And it's like nothing I can control. But also, I do like vocab, because I learn useful words I get to use in my future essays potentially. So,
sure, yeah, and Meher, I think what I'm hearing is like this idea that you miss like getting the full school experience, right?
Yeah, it may be hard for me to readapt to like having to wake up earlier and getting ready again.
But you know what though, it will be, but you will adapt incredibly well, right? Like I think the one thing, if we haven't realized this about ourselves, I think this last year probably has taught us, if anything, not to sound totally cliche, but like we are very adaptable creatures. Like we can adapt pretty much to anything, and I think this hey, we're at a year almost is really indicative of that. And Meher, I hear you. Just like even the full school experience of like not being able to just socialize, even just like laughing with someone real fast, 30 seconds, or like saying something to someone and having them like react to something, or you react to something they say, like those little things. Yeah, you really, really miss out on those. Sammy, what's something that you missed during in-person school?
I miss seeing my teachers and like doing like classes like in person, because you have like more help on the assignments and stuff. And like and I miss socializing with my friends, like when we have conversations and stuff in school. So it's different than when you're on that phone. And at home, feel like the same thing every day. Like the same thing like happens every day. And when I go in person, I feel more involved with the class. Like I learn better. Like,
dude, that's something that I've been reflecting on a lot this year. Is like I miss the unpredictability. Like, obviously, things that we're going to do, I've got them planned. We're organized. I know what we're going to pretty much, for the most part, what we're going to get done, how far we're going to get, right? Every period and whatnot. But like the unpredictability of someone making a joke and then that joke becoming an inside joke in the class, or like that joke being a learning experience that turns into like, it ties into whatever we're doing. And then like we reference that, like those little things that are unpredictable. I know that word sounds intense, but like those little unpredictabilities, I miss those probably about teaching people in person and during those 2 months that we were at home, maybe more than anything. Like top 3, I'd say. So Sammy, I agree. Ishika, what about you? What's something that during those 2 months, 3 months you missed?
Well, again, with just like interacting with friends before like this entire thing in like 2019, I had a pretty large friend group. Like there were 10 of us. And then now it's shrunk into like maybe 2 or 3 just because of all that time we didn't really talk to each other. We just kind of like grew apart. So now it's just 2 or 3 of us left. But that, and also just interacting in a classroom, like vocab baseball for those who are listening and don't have Mr. Ancona. It's a game that we do to practice vocab, and we can't really do that because 6 feet apart. Same thing with like Socratic seminars and like trying to overthrow Mr. Ancona and take over the classroom.
Yeah, it had to be tamed down a little bit, right? You can't like chain me to the wall and like beat me with textbooks. Ishika, you said I'm humbled and honored that you even brought up vocab baseball, and we only did it as a class one time this year. I'm still holding out hope that we can do it a second time. So I'm unbelievably appreciative of that. I wonder, the friend group thing I'm really intrigued by. Like, do you guys, Meher or Sammy, do you guys feel like that's happened to you too? Like, has your friend group kind of shrunken a little bit just because it's harder to keep in touch with so many people?
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah. Like, I used to have many friends in school, like, especially friends I'm interested in keeping, but I couldn't get their number because of this year. I'm hoping we can return by the end of the school year so I can go back to those friends and I can continue to text them even after we get to different high schools, but,
Yeah.
I think we will at this rate because vaccines have already came out, but we'll see.
Yeah, I really well said. I definitely agree with that. Ishika, I don't think I ever actually thought about it, but you're 100% right. My, maybe not friend group, but the people that I'm social with at work, that has definitely dwindled because it's really just like the 5 to 6, 7 people that I'm close with, that I talk with. And then anybody else I would normally kind of have a conversation with in the halls or in passing, kind of quickly, just kind of like chit chat. That's like completely gone. So I didn't realize I missed that. Thanks, Ishika. Now I'm even more sad.
Oh no.
No, I'm kidding. But no, really, I never even really realized that. Do you guys think that you're learning as much? And then I know, Ishika, you kind of talked about like not being able to do certain activities to their full extent, like vocab baseball, right? Or beating me with textbooks, whatever that may be, or Socratic seminars, all this cool stuff. I know, Meher, you were talking about like vocab not getting to do as many units. Do you guys feel like you're learning as much as you normally would have in a normal 8th grade year?
I think I learned equally well online as in person because I think it's a good alternative to do schoolwork when we can't go into school, and because breakout rooms you could like have a one-on-one with a teacher, and like he could explain they could explain stuff to you like better than in like regular school, but in person you also get help on assignments like one-on-one if you ask for guidance.
Okay. Do you think you have to just be more of an advocate online for yourself, or
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because like in class, the teacher could see if you like if you're having a hard time, like by your face.
Yeah, reading the body language, right? You see someone just like they have that look of like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And like online, it's so much harder to read that. Even with your screens on, it's so much harder to read that. Sammy, I think that's a great point, man. Meher, do you think that you're learning as much as you normally would?
Well, when it comes to like how much I'm learning, I'd say yeah, I'm definitely learning less because we obviously have fewer classes for certain subjects and we can't in general learn as much for certain subjects. But
Sure.
but when it comes to like quality of learning, like how well we can learn for everything we're taught, I would say, yeah, I don't learn as well either for that because connection errors and have gotten me so many times. They've made me miss multiple classes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with my new computer, it's not as much of an issue, but still, it can be annoying sometimes. And I know the teachers have even had connection issues, like at the beginning of the year, so that's also misinformation.
Yeah, Meher, it sucks because it's like you're at the hands of your technology, whatever you might have, and you're not the only person at home. So that's.
I'd also like to add on to something Samuel said.
Go ahead.
So like. You were mentioning about body language and how you can tell students are like having trouble with the topic they're learning. I would actually argue that maybe it's not harder to tell whether students having difficulties with online. I'd say it's actually easier because we have like all these what are they called? Like tools, controls on Zoom with like
Yeah.
the hand raising and also the yes and no's. I'd argue it's somewhat easier, maybe.
Yeah,
But
I could totally entertain that, Meher, because I think, what's the typical reason why students don't want to ask for help in class is like a lot of times it's like the embarrassment or, oh no, I'm the only person who has that question, right? All of those kind of like very typical things. But Meher, you think you could do it more privately online?
yeah, especially since there's like private chatting too on Zoom.
Yeah. That's a great point, man. Ishika, what
Yeah.
do you think? Do you feel like you're learning as much as you normally would in a regular year?
Definitely not because of the block schedule that we have, where it's like half of a
Ah,
school day put into 2 school days. But I will say this about like online, about like remote learning, and I'm gonna like expose some of my fellow students here. Not a lot of us are actually paying attention, and I've been guilty of it a couple times. I try and pay attention, but just being at home and like it's not like in school where, hey, right there, we should probably pay attention. But everybody's just like, whoa, is that a turtle statue? And then it's just a lot harder to pay attention, and I know that a lot, not a lot, but a couple, about half maybe of students just aren't like paying attention, and it's harder because like you're at home, you're sitting in front of a computer all day, you don't get that time to like walk around the hallways, and
oh
like
yeah.
talk to people, so definitely a lot worse.
Ishika, yes. All the struggles aside, what's one way that during the remote learning phase from again November to like end of January, what's one way that you've been thriving during all of this?
I've been thriving during remote learning by getting honor roll marking period one. Something I have never. This is something I have never done. This made me really proud, and at first I thought remote learning would be hard, but it made me successful, and I learned to be more hardworking than I already was. For me, this transitioned me to being the best student I could possibly be.
Sammy, first of all, congratulations, dude. That's amazing. And you definitely, definitely deserve that. So, like, what if you had to try to maybe attribute this new and incredible success to something specific that you did during remote learning? What do you think that would be? Like, what I guess has kind of like worked for you?
Just getting the work done before I do anything else.
That's awesome. Which I mean, Ashika talked about how many millions of turtle statues you might have in your house can be incredibly distracting. Ashika, when you say turtle statues, are you referring to like my Ninja Turtle action figures?
Yes, I am.
That was like a very subtle dig at me, Ashika. I'm proud of you. That was good. Turtle statues. They're action figures, actually. So, Ashika, what's one way that you've been thriving during that 2.5 month span at home?
Well, I guess during like the early stages of quarantine, like moving on into remote learning, I was reading a lot. Like I was getting through at least 4 to 5 novels with maybe 10 to 30, actually 10 to 50 chapters in it within like a week. Like I was just
Nice.
going through as many books as possible in that time span, and it was just crazy.
You just had more time to read.
Yeah.
Best book that you read during that time period? Go.
That is hard, but I would have to say, it's this book called Song of Achilles. It's the story of like the Iliad, but written from Achilles' like lover slash best friend's perspective, Patroclus, and it's just really good.
Meher, what's one way that you have been thriving and succeeding during remote learning?
There are many ways I have been thriving. Like, for example, I'm attending my classes, I participate in class, and I make sure I turn in my assignments on time for the most part. Like, sometimes I may forget, but, for the most part, I try to get them on time. And also studying for all my tests, just so I can do well. I can't attend all my classes, because, like I said, connection issues have gone in my way too many times now. But for the most part, I think I've been doing well. I would remote learning isn't a pleasant experience. In some ways it's gotten harder, some ways it's gotten easier, but for the most part, I think I would prefer to be back in real school.
Sounds like a thing a constant that I'm hearing is like, just being self-motivated. What's one way that you've been really struggling? It doesn't sound like falling behind on things is something that the three of you have struggled with, unless I'm wrong. What's one thing that you've really struggled with when we made that switch to learning from home?
Procrastination.
Never mind that, I guess.
I'm a huge procrastinator, and it's like a problem that I've slowly started working on. Like, I haven't been putting off my essays as much.
Procrastination, Ishika, you say that, and knowing you as a student for the 4, 5, 6 months that we've known each other, that kind of blows my mind that you're like, yeah, I read 400 novels in 2 weeks. You finished Book Thief in week 1 of the calendar of the schedule. You've been on top of all these things. So to me, hearing you say that, I don't think of you as procrastinator. It's very interesting. But do you think that has to do with all the extra stuff at home? Hard to block out?
It might be one of the ways I just had to force myself to get those essays done is I literally walked into my parents' closet and locked myself in there. Because there was no distractions in there. It's just an empty room. So I just locked myself in there. And then I have this Chrome extension where unless you put a password, it keeps you locked on Google Docs.
I thought you were going to say you locked yourself in the closet.
I did lock myself in the closet.
Oh, man. You're like, food, water. Parents are just throwing you crusts of bread. You're like, you can come out when you finish that synthesis essay. So, Ishika, it sounds like your biggest enemy was yourself. You just kind of had to fight the whole you should go play with those turtle statues, and you're like, no, shut up. I'm going in the closet and I'm gonna stay in there until I get my work done. It sounds crazy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It sounds a bit extreme, but I think if it worked, dude, it worked. All you really did was just eliminated distractions that are around you. Sammy, what crazy and wild thing did you do? No, Sammy, what was the struggle for you during remote learning?
I really didn't have any struggle with remote learning. To connect back what I said before, I think it's a great alternative if you can't come to school, especially now with COVID. Schools have been closing a lot. If we didn't have remote learning, we would miss the bulk of school. So in my opinion, there's nothing I've been struggling with.
I love it. Nice. Sammy, it sounds like you're thriving this year, dude. You are just genuinely you got this. And this has been I know it's cliche, but it's this is my year. This is your year. You've just been taking this year and grabbing it by the throat and turning it upside down and taking all of its lunch money.
It's because I want to do good in high school.
I love it. Again, intrinsic motivation, right? You're motivated and you're just nothing is standing in my way. Dude, you're the man. Meher, any struggle for you that you feel really stood out during remote learning?
I'd say connection issues, obviously, but I said, also, since I'm an 8th grader, high school applications, because I have to spend a lot of my time, and I'm telling you, I'm not good at essay writing, even though I got 100 on my recent essay. Still, I've just never been good at it. I don't know how I've been doing so well this year on essays. I guess it's because I've been putting more effort in, and maybe I've actually learned things on how to write properly this year in class. Because before I kind of struggled with writing introductions and conclusions, but now I have an actual idea on how to write them. So maybe that's how, but still, I'm telling you, I'm not that good at writing essays.
Well, I mean, I think, first of all, you're warming my heart right now. And then his heart grew 10 times in size. And 2, I think, Meher, you're confusing how you were with how you currently are now. You were, right? Not a good writer, you're saying. But right now, what you're showing is the complete opposite of that. So you might have to kind of change that narrative a little bit, dude. You might have to start embracing the whole I am a good writer. It's weird to say, I know. But you might have to start changing that. That's awesome. It really sounds like a lot of us are thriving here with this. I know for me, one of the biggest struggles I had was, I know this is such a bad word to say, but I definitely had the tendency while at home to get lazy. I know,
It
right?
happens
People
to
are going to
all of
listen.
us. It's happened to me
Of
too.
course, I know, but you know how the world works, right? Listener,
Disgraceful.
that's not the first time that people have said that about me.
Oh no.
But like, that's such like a icky. It's such a stigmatized word. Like if I say, yeah, learning from home or teaching from home has kind of made me a little bit lazy, and like, when people hear that, they immediately go like, lazy teacher, lazy person, lazy, lazy, lazy. We hate him. And what I mean, and I'm sure there are people who can understand what I'm saying without me having to explain it, but like during my periods that I have off, my prep, my lunch, when we were learning from home, period 3, 4, and then period 7. Like my lunch, I went and I was working out instead of grading. Whereas normally during a normal school year, during lunch, I'd likely like go sit in my room by myself. Wow, that sounds really depressing. I'd watch like a YouTube video as I shove food in my face to just decompress for like 5-10 minutes. And then I would just pivot and just grade.
I mean, it's understandable. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure I've also gotten a little bit more lazy nowadays. I mean, it may not seem like it, but I feel like a little bit I have because of the schedule.
Meher, I appreciate you having my back on this, but yeah, remote learning, and I know I'm not the only one, and I've talked to other people who've kind of said the same thing. But remote learning, I mean, I love that schedule. I love the 10 minutes in between, where if like we had to spill over for whatever reason, it just gave everybody a little bit of time to kind of like take a deep breath and then go to the next class or like get a snack. So as great as that was, there were definitely things that kind of made me put off grading for a little bit. So what's something, as we're kind of winding down, what's something that you think administration should know about students and their experience with remote learning that maybe they don't know? Because remember, I'm going to assume, admin likely doesn't know unless you tell them.
That's
right? Because they're not in your home. So things that we may feel as students and that we're like shaking our fist up at the administration clouds, they probably don't know these things. So here's your chance. Tell them what don't they know about students and remote learning during that 2.5 month span where we were fully at home.
I will say this. Luckily, our administration, they're pretty like, they can take like criticism and like constructive criticism. But for like other administrations out there, I'm on social media quite a bit because, I like to interact with other kids my age. And I see that like they expect for students to like be doing the same amount of workload that they would normally do, if not more, at home. And like I was assuming as you're a teacher, like a bunch of you guys do like research for maybe topics for your classes. The rate of like depression, social anxiety, and just mental health disorders in like this generation alone has just increased by so much because they're home alone. Like not alone, but like with family.
But emotionally, right? Emotionally, they're alone too.
So it's just like, hard for some students to just like, pick themselves up and like just get out of bed and start working. So, just maybe give them a break, like tell the teachers to lay off a bit.
Well said. I think that's just like I kind of said before, Ishika, you said that. If you don't know, you don't know. So I know that sounds illogical, but it's important to kind of give grace, give people a little bit of a break. Just like automatically assume that people were struggling. I know that sounds bizarre, but it's kind of been helpful to like automatically just assume people were struggling a bit, to just kind of give them a little bit of a leeway with this.
Yeah, it would be better to assume that like some people out there are struggling than just assume that everyone's fine.
Oh, beautiful, beautifully worded. Meher, what's something that you think admin should know about students and online learning?
I have like multiple issues with online learning, and I just want to say before I get to any of them, it is not the admin's fault for any of these things that are happening. I'm pretty sure they're trying their best with trying to manage this whole thing, but there are definitely ways we can improve. With the split environment, it may be harder to teach because, you have some kids over there and some kids over here, and you're going to have to it's going to be harder to spread the info that you're trying to teach or are being told. And so the splitting of environments is also like not good. I think we should either all go to school or all go remote. And if anything, I'd say all go remote because it's easier and also safer. Well, I haven't really noticed this in other classes, but I've noticed this in your class, and I bet it's an issue in other classes, but students tend to turn off their cameras, and then they don't properly participate in class, and I can't tell if they're away from their computers, as we can't tell, but it seems like it. And I don't think, and we shouldn't get mad at the students because it may not be laziness. They could be going through a lot during such an environment, but seriously, I think it's unfair that we have to go through school and we have to learn, and they're not participating, putting the same amount of work as we are. And for all we know, the ones who don't participate, they may be taking it, they may be gaining off of us, our work. So I don't think everybody should be the best, but I definitely think people should be their best. But that's about it. There are rules about keeping cameras on, but it's not enforced. And it's none of the teacher's fault either. I'm pretty sure they're trying their best, but like I said, there's always ways we can improve. A third and the final issue I've really found is cheating. I believe cheating is wrong. I'm not learning that way, so I've never cheated, but I bet there are other students who have. And cheating on a virtual, because we're virtual, it's so much easier, especially since there aren't rules we can enforce. Now, again, not the teacher's fault. In fact, you've been doing a good job at limiting cheating to the most you can.
Yeah, I hear you, Meher. And there's there's so much good stuff that you just said, and I think really to kind of touch on the big picture that I'm kind of seeing is, it's hard, and I understand the feeling. And I saw the rest of you guys kind of shaking your head, the whole feeling of inequity of I'm working to my best. I'm working incredibly hard. I am being a driver with my education. I'm not just sitting back and being passive. I'm doing all this, and it feels like you're shouldering the load for the entire class. There's unfortunately there's nothing that I can say that can change that, right? Because it does sting where you're I'm putting in all this work. Why aren't others? I like to think, though, that what you get out of that, though, is far more than what others will, even if they are freeloading off of your hard work. But again, that's a real feeling. That's a natural feeling to feel why am I working so hard and other people aren't? More on that with Animal Farm, right? Sammy, what are your thoughts, man? What do you think something that teachers and or admin should know about online learning?
I think the administration should be informed that people have their cameras off in school in remote learning and don't answer when the teachers call on them. For me, this holds up my class while I could be learning. We have to wait for the student to answer, and usually it's 5 minutes until they answer, or if they answer. I feel if their camera is off, mark them absent. It's not fair to the students who actually want to learn to their full potential.
It's interesting, the whole camera off, you're not technically there. That's kind of why I make the joke of it's good. You have your camera on. I'm it's good to see you. Otherwise, I'm kind of just teaching into the void. I don't know who's there. I don't know. It could be your dog that's there.
I feel just one thing that teachers should know during this thing, that when a student chooses to turn off their microphone or camera, it's not essentially your fault for being a bad teacher. Because I know that a lot of students complain about oh, this is hard, and which it is, but I don't think that they realize that basically as a teacher and your job and just talking to a black screen, it's a bit disheartening. So, just thanks to the teachers out there, or most of them at least.
Oh, I like how you pulled that back. You're most of them. Ishika, I think, right. Don't take it personally. That's been helpful for me to kind of remind myself. right? Like they don't have their cameras off because they hate you. Well, I mean, they hate you, but it's not those two things. Those two things aren't like together. It's not cause and effect. But yeah, I think like it is one of the loneliest, worst feelings is teaching to a just blank screens. It feels, I don't know how else to describe, lonely and depressing, sad. I feel gray and saturated. Maybe that's why Ishika was I like that in September, or did it happen once people started turning their cameras off and I got tired of fighting that battle?
Mm.
All right, so as we're winding down here, what is something that you think parents should know about remote learning and their time being stuck? I mean, their time having you home with them all hours of the day, because we do have parent listeners. Sammy, go ahead.
Parents should check in every day to see if their kid needs to do work that is due or if they're not doing work at all. Parents have to look at the parent portal and look at their grades. If they're doing good, then you could trust them. But if you see they're failing, have a nice conversation with your child and ask why you did not complete the assignments. If they say it's because they don't know how to do it, then ask them if they asked the teacher for help. For me, I go to extra help, and like teachers like Mr. Ancona have it mostly every day, and it really helps me out. Parents, before your child goes to play video games or do whatever their hobby is, make sure they have done all their work.
And it's hard work, right? Like, and parenting is hard work, right? And like to then constantly be like, hey, the balance on a normal year that I'm constantly having with parents is they're talking about like, I want my child to be more independent. I don't want to have to check constantly their work, but I have to because they're not doing their work. And that becomes exhausting because you know what answers parents get. Do all your homework? Yeah. What'd you learn today? Nothing. Do you have anything due? No. Ishika, what do you think parents should know?
Well, I think that parents should know, like, this is taking a toll on all of us mentally. Like, not just you, not just, like, teachers, and not just students, like, all of us. And, like, as someone with, like, some parents that, like, sometimes breathe down your neck when it comes to grades, just, like, like, I know that as a student myself, I've been through some stuff this last year or so. And, like, I'm on social media quite a bit. I've interacted with students from parts of America, parts of the world, and a concerning amount of students feel pretty much the same way. And they're, like, going through some things. And it doesn't seem like much, but, like, just not breathing down your child's neck and just, like, always, just, like, I don't know really the explanation, but it's like just getting them to grind work, just like not doing that all the time. Just, it would be better for all of us. I'm not saying to completely lay off your kids, but maybe just like not all the time to like tell them, go do your work. Did you clean your room? Did you finish up this test? Did you do that essay? Like, you don't need to tell us multiple times a day, and just laying off a bit would help.
Are you basically saying parents don't make your only and the bulk of our interactions all business related?
Yeah, because I'm lucky to have some great parents, and sometimes it's a lot about grades, but now that we're coming to the end of the year, I'm having more non-school related like interactions, like my dad's strike and stuff, and like, just for all parents out there, check in with your kid now and again, like just say, hey, how are you doing lately? And just like respect their boundaries, as a human being, just respect their boundaries. Don't go barging into rooms or just like kicking down doors in the middle of their class and say, what are you doing? And just, respect and just be better.
Be better. Oh, I like the vague, but the demand. Just be better. I think, Ishika, what is so important is, and I think we've talked about this too in another episode, maybe with grades are not important, but just like for parents to not let the conversation start and end with, what'd you get on this assignment? And then, what's wrong with you / good job. To have the conversation be a little more substance. Not saying that parents, that's all they say, right? Got to be careful. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Cancel Ancona. But just to make sure that like there's a little more depth to the conversations. It takes more work. It takes a lot more work. So as long as I think people are aware, like The immediate reaction a lot of times is like, I don't got time for that. I got a lot going on. Yes, we all have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's important that we all just do better. Ishika, I love that. Thank you so much, Ishika. Thank you, Meher. Thank you, Sammy. You are fantastic. I am genuinely, in all seriousness, I am lucky to have the three of you as students. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at TheMonarchXP. Follow us on Snapchat at TheMonarchExperience. And as always, stay safe, stay hungry. See ya!